Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we are not looking at charts. We are looking at the plumbing of the entire global financial system. If you have been following the breadcrumbs, you know that something massive has shifted in the banking world as we entered 2026. I am talking about ISO 2022. For years, people said this was a nothing burger. They said it was just a technical update. They were wrong. This is the single biggest upgrade to money since the invention of the credit card. The deadline has passed. The migration is complete, and guess which digital asset was the first to be natively compliant with this new language of money? It wasn't Bitcoin, it wasn't Ethereum, it was XRP. In this video, we are going to expose why the switch has already been flipped, why the volume is about to explode, and why the price suppression we have seen is simply the calm before the utility storm. This is the update the bankers don't want you to understand. Let's break down ISO 2022 for those who are new. Imagine if everyone in the world spoke a different language. Trade would be slow, expensive, and full of errors. That was the old SWIFT system. Slow, clunky, and outdated. ISO 2022 is like teaching every bank in the world to speak perfect English simultaneously. It allows for rich data to travel with the payment. But here is the catch. The old legacy systems cannot handle this data speed. They need a modern rail. They need a blockchain that can settle these data-rich payments in seconds, not days. This is where the XRP ledger, XRPL, comes in. It was built for this exact moment. We are seeing reports from the Federal Reserve and the European Central Bank that specifically mention the efficiency of DLT, distributed ledger technology, in this new standard. They aren't naming XRP directly in every press release, but if you look at the partners, Volante, Finastra, ACI Worldwide, they all run on Ripple's technology. We need to talk about the Nostro, Vostro accounts. This is a technical term, but it is the key to your wealth. In the old system, banks had to park trillions of dollars in foreign accounts just to facilitate trade. This is dead capital. It sits there doing nothing, earning nothing, just waiting to cover a potential transaction. In a high interest rate world, this is expensive. ISO 2022 combined with XRP's on-demand liquidity, ODL, allows banks to free up this capital. We are talking about releasing $20 to $30 trillion back into the global economy. If XRP captures even a fraction of the friction cost of freeing that capital, the valuation of the token has to rise mathematically. You cannot move trillions of dollars of value on a ledger that is valued at a few billion. The pipe has to be big enough to carry the water. Right now, the pipe, XRP market cap, is too small. The market must expand the pipe to accommodate the flow. Furthermore, look at the timeline. The major migration deadlines for the US, FedNow, Europe, Target 2, and the UK, CHAPS, all converged right before 2026. Now that the systems are live and the testing phase is over, the interoperability phase begins. This is where different blockchains and different fiat currencies start talking to each other. XRP is the universal translator. It is the bridge asset. We are seeing the first signs of this interoperability going live between the Japanese yen and the US dollar corridors using the new standard. The volume is ramping up, but it is not retail volume. It is institutional settlement volume. This is why the chart looks different. Retail sells on fear. Institutions buy on utility. The divergence is getting wider every day. Now let's address the elephant in the room, FedNow and the US banking sector. There has been so much speculation about whether Ripple is working with the Fed. Let's look at the facts. The Federal Reserve's instant payment system, FedNow, uses service providers to connect to smaller banks. One of the top providers is Volante Technologies. Volante has been a Ripple partner for years. They have literally demonstrated payments settling on the XRP ledger in their pilot programs. Do you think they just threw that technology away? No, they integrated it into the back end. The average consumer using FedNow to pay for their coffee won't know they are using XRP. They don't need to know. Just like you don't know you are using TCP/IP when you send an email. But the settlement, the movement of value between the banks behind the scenes, that is where the XRP ledger shines. This invisible utility is the most bullish case possible because it doesn't depend on hype. It depends on the necessity of the banking system to survive. Let's discuss the derivatives market associated with this new standard. As banks start using XRP for settlement, they will need to hedge their exposure. They cannot risk the price dropping 10% while they are in the middle of a transaction, even if it takes 3 seconds. This creates a massive market for XRP derivatives, futures, options, and and swaps. We are already seeing the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, CME, and other institutional platforms looking at XRP indices. When Wall Street starts building financial products on tops of the spot asset, the liquidity deepens. This dampens volatility over time, but drives the floor price up significantly. We are moving from a Wild West crypto asset to a mature financial instrument. This transition is painful for day traders who want 100x gains overnight, but it is incredibly rewarding for long-term investors who understand asset maturity cycles. I also want to touch on the network effect, or Metcalfe's law. This law states that the value of a network is proportional to the square of the number of connected users, or in this case, banks. For the first 10 years, Ripple spent their time signing up one bank at a time. It was slow, it was grueling, but now, with ISO 2022, they don't need to sign up banks one by one. They just need to plug into the central aggregators. By connecting to one aggregator, they instantly get access to 4,000 banks. The network is growing exponentially, not linearly. The price, however, has been moving linearly or sideways. This is a massive inefficiency in the market. In financial markets, inefficiencies always close. The price will catch up to the network value. It is inevitable. We must also look at the competition. People talk about JPM coin or other bank coins. Here is the reality. A Citibank coin works great for Citibank, but Wells Fargo doesn't want to hold a Citibank coin. Deutsche Bank doesn't want to hold a JP Morgan coin. They are competitors. They need a neutral asset, an asset that no bank controls, but every bank can trust. That is the definition of XRP. It is the Switzerland of crypto. It is decentralized enough to be neutral, but compliant enough to be used by the establishment. No other asset sits in this Goldilocks zone. Bitcoin is too slow and energy intensive for them. Stablecoins have counterparty risk. The issuer could go bust. XRP is the only logical solution for neutral bridge settlement. The logic is undeniable. So what does the end game look like in 2026 and beyond? We are looking at a future where value moves like information. In the 90s, we digitized information. In the 2020s, we are digitizing value. XRP is the protocol for that value. The skeptics will say, but the price hasn't moved. The skeptics are looking at the scoreboard in the first quarter and thinking the game is over. The game hasn't even started. The warm-up is over. The institutional players are just now taking the field. When the trillions of dollars in derivatives, FX swaps, and cross-border payments start flowing through these new ISO 2022 rails, the demand for the bridge asset will be relentless. It won't be a pump and dump. It will be a sustained upward repricing until it finds its fair market value. This brings us to your strategy. What are you doing right now? Are you letting the boredom shake you out? Are you letting the lack of instant gratification steal your future? The market is designed to transfer wealth from the impatient to the patient. I know I say this a lot, but it is the truest statement in investing. You are holding the standard. You are holding the protocol. Imagine buying shares in the Internet Protocol, HTTP, in 1995. That is the opportunity here, but you have to be willing to ignore the noise. You have to be willing to look stupid for a while, to look like a genius for a lifetime. A warning on security. As we enter this new phase, phishing attacks are becoming sophisticated. You will receive emails that look exactly like they are from Ripple or Ledger or your exchange. They will claim you need to upgrade for ISO 2022 or claim your rewards. These are scams. The ISO upgrade happens on the back end. You as a user do not need to do anything. Never click links in emails. Never type your seed phrase into a computer. Keep your assets in cold storage. If you don't hold the keys, you don't hold the coins. Don't fumble the ball on the 1-yard line. The bottom line is this: the infrastructure is built, the laws are passed, the banks are integrated, the standard is live. The only thing missing is the public realization of what this all means. That realization happens gradually, then suddenly. We are in the gradually phase. The suddenly phase is coming. Make sure your bags are packed and your mindset is strong. We are not just investors, we are pioneers of a new digital economy. Thank you so much for watching this deep dive. If this video helped you connect the dots on the global banking reset, please destroy that like button. It helps the algorithm show this truth to more people. Share this video with every XRP holder you know. They need to hear this. Subscribe and turn on notifications because the news is breaking fast, and I will be here to cover every single development. Stay strong, stay safe, and I will see you on the moon. Peace.